Hello, science fans. Today I'll be talking about heredity again. But first, I want to remind you that there are all kinds of families. That means you may not share heritable traits with other people in your family. You inherit traits from your birth parents, but that might not be what your family is like. For example, I have a good friend who adopted her daughters, so their heritable traits didn't come from her. For another example, Mr. Walsh has two sons, Bobby and Justin. They each got some of their traits from me, but Mrs. Walsh is not their birth mother, so neither of them look anything like her. We're a family, but they didn't inherit traits from her because they're not related by blood. They inherited traits from their birth mother. So remember that learning about heredity has to do with the science of how genes are passed on. It has nothing to do with what makes a family. What makes a family is not heredity, it's love. Heredity. Hello, science fans. Mr. Walsh here, and Floppy. Floppy, can you say hello? Not like you usually do it. Hello? Not like you usually do it. What? I said what you asked. Just say hello. Okay? Hello. Okay? Just say hi. Hi. Okay. Thank you. We're going to talk some more about heredity. First, a reminder. Do you remember what heredity is? Shouldn't you know? You're the science teacher. Yeah, I know what it means. I want to know if you know what it means. Okay, great. Tell us. I can't. Why not? It's a secret. Floppy, it is not a secret what heredity means. You don't know the answer, do you? Oh, it's okay. You don't have to be embarrassed. Remember, you don't have to know everything in science. Scientists make guesses all the time. That's what science is all about. Sometimes you're right, and that's great. Sometimes you're wrong. That's okay too, because either way, you learn. Okay. Good job. So, first a reminder, what is heredity? Well, traits are things that tell what you're like. For example, Floppy, you've seen my mom and dad, right? Yes. Do you think I look like my mom or my dad? Yes, definitely. What? That's not an answer. Yes, it is. I said, do you think I look like my mom or my dad? Yes, definitely. Definitely what? You definitely look like either your mom or your dad. Very funny. You know what? You go sit over here. We'll talk to you later.
Ow. Ow. Ow.
Anyway, traits are things that tell what you're like. For example, Mr. Walsh has blue eyes. That's a trait. I have light skin. That's a trait. The color of your hair is a trait. The shape of your nose is a trait. There are lots of them. Heredity is when you have traits from the time you were born because they came from your parents. Genes are like a set of instructions telling what you'll be like. You get one half of your genes from one parent, the other half from the other parent. Let's look at how that works with eye color. You get a gene for eye color from each parent. If both parents have brown eyes, that makes it simple. The gene from the mom says, this kid is going to have brown eyes. The gene from the dad also says, this kid is going to have brown eyes. I'm glad they agree. So the kid has brown eyes. But what if the genes from the mom and dad say different things? Well, in that case, what happens a lot of the time is you find out that one of the genes is stronger and one is weaker. We call strong genes dominant and weaker genes recessive. If you get a dominant strong gene from one parent and a recessive or weak gene from the other parent, then the strong gene will win. The weak gene will get covered up. You won't even see it. Eye color is like this. In humans, brown eye color is dominant or strong. Blue eye color is recessive or weak. If you get a gene for blue eyes from one parent and a gene for brown eyes from the other parent, you're going to have brown eyes because the gene for brown eyes is stronger. It is dominant. The recessive or weak gene for blue eyes is still there. You just don't see it because it's covered up by the dominant brown eyes gene. But you have to remember, like anything else I teach you about science, it's a lot more complicated than that. I'm just teaching you the beginnings. Not every trait works so easily with one being dominant and one being recessive. There's a lot more to it, and you'll learn about that when you get older.
Meanwhile, let's look at some other kinds of things that can happen.